Hello and welcome back to the Take It and Run podcast. We're super excited. Kelsey and I have an incredible guest today, someone who I know you will be reaching out to, asking questions, probably collaborating with, and even just following because you're going to become a massive fan like I'm a massive fan. Chase Giles, welcome to the podcast.
Well, thank you so much. That is a awesome intro and a one that I appreciate because I admire y'all so much. And so,
Oh, I
yeah, but I'm
like it.
happy to be here. Thanks for having me on.
Yes, we're super excited. So today's topic is all about how to become like Chase Giles. No, I'm kidding. How to R&D everything
First,
amazing that he does.
mustache.
Step one, grow an awesome mustache. Have some personality. No, we're going to be talking about YouTube and specifically being able to create hyper local content that converts without spending a dime on ads. I think that's probably one of the most interesting things about your strategy is you're not spending money on ads. You spend money on stuff like a videographer and some different things like that, but you're converting YouTube and YouTube leads and generating leads and having business without spending any. So let's jump into, just for anybody who doesn't know you, give us, what is it you do? How long have you been in business? And, what does your business look like today?
Yeah, absolutely. So I am Chase Giles. I live in the Woodlands, Texas, which is about 30 to 40 minutes north of Houston. It's a suburb. It's kind of consistently ranked one of the best places to live in the United States, neighborhood wise. And there are lots of trees. So we put the woods in the woodlands is what I say in some of my videos. And I may have said this already. I'm 29. I got my real estate license about 11 years ago. So whenever I was just after my freshman year in in college, I took, real estate classes, passed the exam, and kind of immediately jumped into selling real estate. So I would work it kind of like an internship while I was in college. I actually didn't have Friday classes, so I would come home on Thursdays and try to do open houses or try to work some leads. Sold a few properties here and there while I was at Texas A&M. But once I graduated, I knew that I wanted to do real estate full time. So came back, just hit the ground, absolutely running, went back to school, got my real estate broker's license in Texas, and now I get to run the Giles real estate team. And so that's it. I'm married. I love to run. I love coffee. I am trying to become a pilot. I'm literally about to take my exam after this meeting is where I'm going to do it. So I love a good challenge, and real estate is one of those, but love real estate in all aspects, investing, selling homes, helping families, all the stuff. But that's me in a little bit of a nutshell.
Nice.
I love it.
What led you to choose YouTube as your lead generating start off platform? Did you kind of have a trial and error, or?
It was, no, I've always kind of felt pretty comfortable in front of, or in video, right? In front of a camera. In high school, the only other job I've ever had is that I worked at our church in the creative arts ministry, sort of doing audiovisual stuff. And so I was typically behind the camera, but did feel comfortable in the event that I had to be in front of it. And so for me, it was a great way to, at least whenever I was young and new, still think I'm kind of young, but don't think I'm super new.
You are.
Information
yeah.
To convey information that felt high quality in a way that people would actually, ingest, right? So it wasn't a blog. It wasn't just some chart somebody had to read. And and then my personality could come across that way. So it started off really as Facebook little market updates, vertical format, 1 or 2 minutes. And then it's transitioned out of necessity during COVID. So in 2020, we had a couple of listings that were some, luxury listings, and we wanted to really showcase the home. And I thought about doing a luxury kind of home walkthrough HGTV style video. And that kind of spurred everything. After that video was a success, we started making content about our area. So it was kind of I have 2 buckets that my videos still fall into today, is listing content, advertising for our sellers, and then moving to living in, which is what we're going to primarily talk about, today. So the first one was more of a broad video, and it was I realized I was having these conversations over and over again with people that were relocating here, or with clients about property taxes and about the special villages of the Woodlands, and thought, okay, a good use of my time and a good way to reach people that I may not know is to make a video about it and upload it to YouTube. So it started out with me just using my real estate photographer, and he kind of shipped it off, and we had some overseas editing, and that was good. That video was really cringy to watch nowadays, but it's always more, it's never perfect. Right? What is it? Perfect is the enemy of done, right? So it was
Pretty
good
much.
enough, and that got us started. And after that, we just started continuing to make more and more content. But I'm going to transition and talk about something Kristi mentioned earlier, which is like the hyper local aspect of it. So like
Yeah.
every area that you live in, everybody watching this, like their town is specific. There's nuances, but I believe that the Woodlands has like very specific, schools you're located to. You cross this, you change tax rates, all those things. And so instead of, like many YouTube channels nowadays, and kind of also friends in our area, other brokerages, they're really broad. Moving to Houston, moving to Austin, it's really, really big. And I don't know a ton about South Houston, nor do I necessarily want to drive down there. And so what I decided to do was rather go, broader, is go deeper. And I grew up in our area. I've got friends that live, I know the parents of this family from high school that live on this street, type of thing. And so as an agent, I felt it was like my fiduciary to know as much as possible. So I chose to go deep and really become the expert of our town. And that is ultimately kind of what it's resulted to, which is a cool thing. And I'm grateful for the business it's produced, for the extra knowledge and history that I've gotten to learn from our town, about our town, as we've gone through it. But that's kind of the progression. And today, I like to think I'm one of the top results, if not the top result, for the Woodlands in our area.
Yeah, so your channel, for let me break it down for our listeners. Your channel is narrow by design, right? We know too many agents try to go really broad, and this is a great example of niching down into an area that, one, you're excited and passionate, you live in the area, you work in the area, we create content for the area. So tell me, what are the type of videos you focus on in this, in this hyper local Woodland, Texas? Give us some ideas of the type of content.
Yeah. This is where we have to put our as agents, we have to put our pride aside and think. We're always thinking about the client. You have to think about more what they're asking. So most agents in a hyper local sense may want to say, I want to be the mayor. Let's find the best coffee shops. Where are people working out? What's the best burger in the area? That's what they think people want to know, because that's the content they want to make. They want to be the food, influencer. But the questions that they actually need to make videos about are, what are the schools like, right? What is the commute time like? What are the tax implications? What is, in our area, we really didn't flood, but we are close enough to Houston where people ask that all the time, right? What is flooding like? Are there new construction options? So this is where, as things have progressed, and we'll talk about this a little bit later, I'm sure, is like I use AI, ChatGPT, to help me kind of come up, like search, what are people searching for when they're moving here? What are the concerns of I know my demographic, like I know who I'm marketing to based on who it attracts. But typically it's like a $700,000 home, 4 bedrooms. They've got 2 or 3 kids, maybe a dog. They're looking for a pool. And so what needs do they have? And also, what questions, as I said earlier, what questions am I answering kind of over and over again that probably everybody else is answering as well, or asking as well, that I can't answer? So those are that's a great place to start.
So you said that you use ChatGPT to kind of find some of those questions to answer. How do you do that in like a monthly basis? Do you look at do you batch shoot your content? Do you what's your planning system structure like?
Yeah, we film every week. So my videographer is a past client of mine. His name is Eric. He's awesome. He was a friend first, actually, and then a client, and then now we get to work together. And so we film just about every single week. And it didn't necessarily start that way. One of my regrets if I look back, is to actually be way more consistent. So
Mm.
after I first started the channel, I was on and off and didn't really take it as serious as I should have, right? And so we don't really batch content. I mean, sometimes we'll film 1 or 2 videos in one setting, depending on where we are, what village, or if we're close to, a new construction place, we can do a talking head video. But for the most part, they're like one off. We're making one video this week. It's going to be on this. And we have a bank of kind of backlog where, if I'm out of town, which I will be, that we're going to, like this upcoming weekend, we have stuff to rely on. So I use AI to get the wheels turning, right? It's not going to replace me, because I'm the one that's like actually, in front of the camera. And I actually don't even like scripts. So I can, freestyle in front of the camera with a general kind of overview or bullets. And I think that's what people should really focus on, because ultimately somebody will eventually reach out and they want you, right? They want your personality. So if you're too scripted, they probably can feel that. And the reality is some other people that are on YouTube as well probably feel pretty robotic. And so, I mean, I cannot tell you how many times people tell me, we loved the quality, audio quality, video quality of your videos, and we like you. Like, you just seem honest. Or, they're not asking me how many homes have I sold in the area. They're not asking me how many years of experience I have. They're sold on me. And so I can leverage AI and some cool tools and some Google search, other articles. I don't recommend looking at other videos from your area. I mean, eventually they may duplicate a little bit, but you don't want to sound just like those people.
That's actually a really good point. I am curious. Yeah. We're gonna talk about conversion in a second and your process of these leads coming in, but you mentioned, I wish that I had been a little bit more consistent. How long have you had your channel? It sounds like prior to 2020, and how long did it take before you started making money from your channel?
Yeah. I'd say so that first listing video was like like maybe March 2020. I probably made that second actual like moving to or informational video, kind of an FAQs about the area video, in June or July. So I think maybe by August or September, I had my first closed deal. So I would say about 3 months from that time. Now, it was probably less saturated, right? But that time, somebody watched the video, they reached out, they came in, they did what I call a discovery trip. So I showed them some homes and their price point and everything. And then maybe another month of actually getting them under contract before I, sold that first house. And actually, I just sold that home again. So they are moving back to Arizona. They're going to be renting. Sorry, Kristi. Different area too. But it went full circle with a client, and they were it was special because they were my first YouTube buyer.
Oh.
So yeah, I mean, I think that's a realistic expectation. If you start and you're also consistent, because the algorithms and everything will reward, and also one video is probably not going to convert somebody. They need to build the trust with you. I mean, again, people reach out and they're like, we've watched everything that you have. And even existing clients are, which is a lot, probably not truly everything, but even past buyers and clients will still watch the content. And so before they reach out, they probably need to watch, 3 or 4 videos. So if you think about, like, you're going to film, you're going to, bank some content, and then you're consistently posting for a month, that then gives them confidence in your channel for them to then take next steps, so.
Okay.
Excellent. Let's move into let's move into conversions from clicks to closings, right? You mentioned that you generate high quality leads without paying for ads. Can you walk us through how these leads typically come in?
Yeah. Well, first I'll say this, that closed mouths don't get fed. So you have to ask for the business, right? There are plenty of times where I've run into people in the grocery store or Home Depot, and they're like, "You're the YouTube guy. Like, you helped us so much." I'm like, "Oh, thanks." Like, did you buy a house? Right? Like you always, I'm like, who, like, did you rent? And that's what I'll typically ask them, right? Like, oh, did you find a place? Are you renting? Did you buy something? And they'll be like, yeah, it was great. We loved your information. And, this is probably one in however many that it doesn't actually convert like this. But it makes me think like I am asking for business, but yet maybe I'm not asking enough or giving them enough direction. So I think it is important at a certain point in the video when you have earned their trust, it's okay to ask, or at the very end, right? It's okay to ask for the business. And so for me, it goes something like this, kind of midway through. I won't even introduce myself at the beginning of the videos now, right? So kind of halfway through, I might say something like, if you don't know me already, my name is Chase Giles, and I am the relocation expert for the Woodlands, Texas. I live here, I work here, and I get to help families every single day move right here to the Woodlands, Texas. My goal of these videos is to be your real estate resource of choice. And then I specifically say, I want to be your realtor whenever you move right here. So on the screen, this is something we've recently kind of developed in the last probably year. We put a QR code that takes them to a landing page. So as I'm kind of going through the spiel, it throws it up on the screen. I was watching a Super Bowl ad and there was a QR code and I was like, that's genius. Like, they're there watching it on their TV probably. And people will tell me that our family sits on the couch and we sit in our bed at night. And I'm like, whoa, okay, too much. Right. And I'm like, okay, it's there. So I tell them, if you're watching this on your TV, scan this QR code. It's going to take you to a website on our real estate page. If you're on your phone or your tablet, there's a link down below. It'll take you to the same thing. And I say, hey, no pressure at all, but I'd love to get the conversation going so I can get to know you and your family more so we can meet your needs. It's kind of long, but again, it's like a low pressure sales, at least I believe, but I'm also being specific and hopefully telling them like, hey, I just want to get to know you more because I really do want you to have the best service whenever you move here. So that's where it starts. Then that form or that QR code takes them to a form on our website. And once they fill it out, I have a specific email. This is something that I would recommend for people. If you're committed to YouTube, have maybe a specific phone number. Kristi would definitely say like a specific call rail phone number, which I would agree, and a specific email address that you only use for YouTube. So you can track it, right? That's important. I will admit, I still use my personal cell phone number. So people are shocked whenever I pick up and they're talking to me. They're like, we thought we were going to get an office. I'm like, nope, it's me. So from that, I'll typically send them an individualized email because they will type like, hey, we're moving from Dubai or we're moving from Florida. We're retired. We're a veteran. Like, so I don't want it to be an automated response, right? Again, because I've developed that relationship. I don't want them to feel like they're getting something. And then after that, there can be automations, but I will set up a discovery call. So we have discovery call, then to discovery trip. The discovery call it's just a Zoom meeting, a Google Meet meeting where I talk to them about their wants and needs and they get to know me a little bit more. We talk about a buyer's representation agreement. And typically I tell them this, I'm like, hey, next steps is this, right? We're going to start a group message, text message. You can blow up my phone with Zillow listings or HAR is our platform. And I'm going to send you these documents, right? If we're going to work together, I need a little bit of skin in the game from you. And, and it's a great way to convert people and start the representation agreement. Also, depending on where they are in the timeline, if they're 2 years out, it's like, let's just keep on talking. Right. And then after that, typically what they're going to be doing if they're relocating with a company or on their own, they're going to plan a trip. I mean, sometimes people reach out and they are like, here, they're like, we're staying at a hotel and we watched your videos. Can you pick us up? And it's like, wow. Okay. Wish you would have called me 2 weeks ago. but we'll do that. I mean, like that's the next kind of phase where I actually am touring them around. They're getting to see the villages. Something again unique about our area is that there's trees everywhere. So it's pretty hard to navigate if you don't know where you are. And quite literally yesterday, I had a family in the car from Connecticut and they were like, this is an amazing tour. Like they were just blown away by the knowledge of the community. And that's humbling to me because we put a lot of work into it, but it is also like, it's my job. So it kind of makes sense. The guy's a doctor and I'm like, what do you mean? Like, a lot of information, right? Your job's
Awesome.
Pretty intense.
So you mentioned several steps and some some things are automated, some things aren't. So like what tools are you using in your conversion process? So as soon as somebody clicks that link or does the QR code, can you just give us a bullet point list of the tools you're using? Are you using your CRM
Yeah.
to like set your follow-ups, your tasks, calendar invites, all that stuff?
I'm kind of laughing because Kristi and I are working on this right now, like in coaching as well. So yeah, I mean, honestly, a lot of it, and especially when you're getting started too, it's like a lot of it can just like live up here, but I don't think that's the best infrastructure to lay. So I use JotForm is what's embedded in our, on our website, although I might be open to changing it, but it works really well right now. So just some simple questions: name, phone number, timeline, price point, and then like an about. I want to learn more about you. Have you visited the Woodlands? That's one of my questions as well. And after that, I mean, it is email, and then our lofty CRM is where they live, right? And the automation piece is what we're working on more so now, but it's like it's still it's decently manual, which again, I think, which is probably a lie that I believe, I think it needs to be for that deeper connection in some way. But I'm also like a phone call, text message kind of person. Like I really just phone call. So
He's a
there's a
people
little bit,
person.
yeah. There's a, really JotForm in my CRM is where, and then Bitly's the other one, which are where I can track the QR codes that we generate and things, and see which videos possibly are converting. So.
Okay, so two things that you mentioned I wrote down in my notes, and I think these are really important to part of your conversion. I love that you invite them to blow up my phone, right? But I wrote that down, blow up my phone. You book a discovery call, right? And that's where they're filling out the job form. You do a discovery call, which is not your buyer consultation. That discovery call is just learning about them. Like, tell me about the discovery call, and then you book a discovery trip. At what point are you doing that full, this is the buying process? I mean, I know I heard you say, hey, I some skin in the game with the buyer, but talk to me about the discovery call versus the discovery trip, and when do you know that this is my client?
Yeah. After they sign the buyer representation documents is when I know that they're my client. But I could even say that them reaching out is them saying they want to work with me. That might sound a little prideful, but like that's just it. Like very rarely does somebody reach out and go, "Hey, we want to interview a couple people." So if they're doing that step, then they're pretty mentally, at least I believe, they're pretty committed along the way. Where does the buyer consultation kind of come in? Well, one, again, if they feel confident and comfortable enough, which I would hope so, that I really don't get much pushback ever from the buyer sending the representation documents. But Eric and I have filmed some still head, kind of talking head about the process. So there are some landing pages, more private landing pages on our website that I can send them where they can understand kind of our general contract to close, timeline. But I really do actually at the end of the discovery call, depending on where they land, even if they're looking to lease something, I will tell them, hey, real quick, just so you understand, like this is what we're seeing right now in the market for lease applications. Or, we would, if we find the home, if today we write the offer on the home, this is typically what we would go with. So it's kind of a blend of it, honestly. I really don't feel like there are many times where I have to set up another phone call before their trip where I'm talking about more of the process of it. A lot of that will sometimes come into play when we are in the car with each other while I'm driving around, that they will then start asking some more of those questions or more nuanced questions. Again, furthering, like I have the buyer rep signed, obviously, because I'm showing them homes, but I'm deepening that relationship and that trust factor.
How long does it take for them typically? You mentioned the scenario where someone's like, hey, we'll be there this weekend, but from the time that they, punch the QR code, book the discovery call, how long of an incubation period are these YouTube leads?
before they're here for their discovery trip, I'd say it's on average probably about a month, just because that's whenever they're booking their flights. The family I was with yesterday was like 8 months out, and he was just being really proactive, and he may not even get his doctor job till a year from now, but they wanted to like touch and feel what their price point would be like as he's going through the interview process, which again, that to me is like, that might seem like a waste of time to a lot of people. It's like they're a year out and I'm showing them houses today. But to me, that's like, they won't use anybody else. So that's like further solidifying the lead. That's also just good customer service, right? Because if they're making a big life choice on which hospital do I want to work at, or, I'm thinking about taking a job down here, then it is, I think, very important for them to get a feel for what real estate is like. Now it varies, right? I tell them if you come in February, which is when a lot of people end up doing it, there's not a ton of inventory. So I do caveat stuff, right? Like, hey, we're not going to be able to look at everything, and there will be more available and probably better stuff because we're just out of season right now. So yeah, I'd say about a month.
Okay, good to know.
So I love all that talk about the discovery call and the discovery tour. It's such a fun thing. Anyway, but can you tell us about a video recently that performed really well? Like what did you notice that worked?
Yeah.
And
I will mention one thing, that as people are in the car for discovery trips, they actually will give me video content ideas. So one was like, we want to learn more about this neighborhood. That Friday, I was like, Eric and I are doing this. And then they saw it the next week or 2 weeks from then. And they were like, did we give you that idea? I said, yeah. So there was one yesterday, I was driving around and they asked about daycares in the area. I talk a lot about the schools, but I don't mention the daycares. And I'm like, yes, that's what the, mom or family or whoever is searching for. What are the daycares like in the Woodlands? And so that's a super high, really niche ranking that will continue to boost. Let me think about one that's like the one that people really enjoy, that they will comment on pretty frequently, is the flooding video, right? That's a, if you think about like, okay, we're moving to Houston. Didn't Houston flood? Like if I'm moving to Florida, or Oklahoma, like I'm going to look up tornadoes. And so that's one that almost everybody's going to talk about. I actually go into the flood maps and show them, and people have commented that I was the only person that mentioned showed the flood maps, and just in general, so they know what they're looking for. It was like, okay, well, we need to do another version of that where I do a deeper dive or talk about something else. So I don't know if there's been like unbelievable conversion, because to be honest, if I compare myself to other YouTube channels in our area, which is a slippery slope, like I would encourage people is like, focus on yourself, focus on being you. One of my good friends has 50,000 subscribers. I have like 2,500, right? And they've got a massive team and all this, all these likes and all these comments. My videos on average get about 1,000 views per video, but it converts, and also we have different goals. So I don't want to manage 100 people. I can barely keep up with myself,
I like this.
And so, yeah, so this is like just some personal advice, that it's really easy, again, to watch other people's videos and want to copy them, and then you sound like them, and then you're not yourself. And, so you have to kind of do some introspection and ask yourself, what do I want? Which is great about YouTube, because you can I could just be making videos about retired people and just work with, people about VA. I could do just investors, right? Mm-hmm. So you can get really, really specific, which I would encourage people to do. I'm trying to remember what the original question was, but it was like, you can come up with your own, your own lead generation for who you want to work with.
Yeah. You try.
Let's do some rapid fire real talk as we wind up. So what were the hardest parts of building your YouTube presence?
Probably being consistent, and committing when you don't have leads coming in yet, and committing X amount of money per video to it. That's probably one of the harder things. And then real quick, I'll mention this because I think this is important. I am happy to pay. I've had a few different iterations of video editors and option, photographer and somebody else. Eric charges a premium, but he also lives in the area. I don't have to tell him how to edit. He knows I mean, he knows my brain now. And so it's, if I'm talking about this village, he's not going to reference some other village. He knows, right? And 98% of the time I get a video back and I have no changes. It's just, it's polished. And so that's hard though, to commit to paying more money in the beginning. You want to learn how to do, Final Cut Pro. Like, are you kidding me? Okay. So this is a hot take of mine that Kristi and I have talked about. Agents are willing to outsource transaction coordinating at $500 to $600 for, per file, right? Maybe. And yet that is something that they are trained to do. They should know how to write a contract and manage that stuff. They don't know how to do video editing, and they will spend more time trying to learn how to do it. And it will be worse.
Wow.
Like, it will end up not being as good than so pay $1,000, get a really good, and then like the quality of that video converting because of the audio quality better, right, is a way better return. So it's hard to do that up front. And I understand kind of want to being a little bit DIY. What I would say for people is film yourself on your phone, get comfortable with your phone, and then hire somebody, like get the practice reps, and then hire somebody to basically remake those videos on a more professional platform.
Yeah. So you use this word several times. And so in my head, it's a big ticket item. And if you work with Kristi, even just the slightest bit, you know that it is. How do you stay consistent now? You mentioned that consistency was your biggest regret, or lack of consistency was your biggest regret before. How do you stay consistent now?
I will also relate it kind of back to coaching, in the sense of I'm paying for accountability in ways, a lot more, but because I pay Eric, I think a good wage for the videos. He is keeping me accountable. Like, he wants to earn, like, I think who you hire, they need to be hungry as well. So he is texting me throughout the week. Where are we meeting? What are we doing? What's the topic? And so it makes me consistent because he has a family that he wants to support and, feed as well. So that's a big piece of it. But I got this from Jeremy Knight. I now look at videos as if I don't make this video, it's going to cost me $10,000 or something, right? Like, or more. So, it's not necessarily what does this literally cost me, but what's the opportunity cost of not filming the video and helping the client and getting this certain price point to the potential income. That's what hurts. And that's honestly what does, motivate me.
Okay. Did you ever think about quitting, or did you ever get discouraged?
There are definitely times where you're like, especially because I don't have all these different cities to talk about, where I end up kind of talking about the same thing. And I'm like, am I actually giving value here? Or should I just send this other thing? But like our other video, YouTube is constantly evolving, right? The algorithm is constantly changing. And so I don't know what somebody else's search history, what video is going to land with them. And so I talk about flooding or property taxes in 3 different ways. One of them might convert higher for them, So there are times whenever it's hard, where you're like, is there anything for me to talk about? It is really hot outside right now in Texas. And so to get out there and sweat around and, come up with stuff, like, absolutely it is, there are definitely times, but whenever we've been filming before on this cool area called the Woodlands Waterway. And this guy named Ross stopped me, and he was like, I want to let you know that you changed you changed me and my wife's life. He said, we moved from LA and she loves to run, and it was not safe for her to run outside. Like, she could not go. She had to, jog. He goes, but here in the Woodlands, whatever hours she wants to, I feel safe if she just runs up and down the waterway. He's like, so that has been unbelievable for our family to just, be in this location. And it's a result of your videos. I was like, golly, right? That really, really impacts me. It's like, yes, I get to earn a great living and we get to be cool and film videos, but there are like real people that deserve really good service that are moving to your area that you can help. And that is like one of the more motivating things that keeps it going, keeps me going.
So if what would you say to the agent who's like, okay, yeah, I've done this. I've posted like 20 videos and I haven't seen a single lead. What would you say to encourage them?
I would say, first, what videos are you making, right? Take a step back and say, are these videos for me? Or are these videos that a real potential buyer, has questions of. And then I would also ask them about their conversion, right? How are they asking for the business? Where are they sending them to? Don't have like Instagram is okay, but like, I just want my email and the landing page and my phone number. So I'm not trying to send them to my business Facebook page or my website or all these different links. It's like reduce the options for them so it converts. So email, link, or text message, or like, my phone number. That's how they can reach out. And so if they're trying to be fancy with all this extra stuff, that might be it, is they end up having too many choices and it doesn't work. So I would say, can they simplify and make better content? I mean, I don't want to insult somebody, but that might be it.
No.
Better thumbnails,
Okay.
like that's another thing too, is the titles, the how are you doing with searching? And that's where you can definitely use AI to like help you, generate some stuff that will give you some options to rethink what you have. Sometimes I'll take an old video of mine and like rethrow it in there and say like, how do we think we can make this better? And it'll give me like a new different title, and I'll give it a shot.
So Chase and I actually did an exercise yesterday where I went into Perplexity and I just asked, about the neighborhoods in the Woodlands, and he was cited as source material. There were 26 citations, and I think he had like 8 or 9 of them. One was his blog, and then the rest were his YouTube videos, which was obviously really cool and fulfilling. But Chase, I want you, before Kelsey wraps us up and closes the podcast, I want you to tell us, how can people connect with you? How should they find your channel if they've got more questions about YouTube? And then do we have any etiquette when they do go to your channel and check you out?
Very good. Well, a reason that they could reach out is because kind of what you mentioned, right? YouTube is great. Like starting with a video gives you an awesome amount of, you've probably come up with a script, right? In some way or an outline, but you can take that video and throw it in some of these tools and get a summary, ask it to write a blog. You can do the Google My Business stuff. So it's just the tip of the iceberg, which is it's a big piece of the iceberg. The video is to then repurpose that content for my virtual assistant to be posting. So we can talk more about that if you wanted to reach out, individually. I would say just Google me. That's probably the easiest option. But phone number, Instagram is great. My Instagram handle is Chasing Real Estate, and some etiquette, right? So this kind of applies for anybody with YouTube, but there is a demographic, like YouTube knows my potential buyer. And so if you search for a video of mine, you watch 30 seconds of it, and then you bounce, you've told YouTube that somebody from somewhere watches this and then like, they didn't like it, so they left. So I would ask, if you are going to, do some investigative work on some stuff, watch the whole video or leave a comment or, like the video as well. So subscribe, like you don't have to, maybe not till the absolute very end, but watch a good amount of the video. One, because I think you're going to learn more at the end of the day. And two, because you don't want it to hurt the person's profile of anybody I've got some really good friends that live in different parts of the US that I will reference their videos or thumbnail or something. And if I click on it, it's going to be muted, but it's going to run fully in the back of my, another tab. So,
Nice.
And then phone number as well. I think I'm, you can call me whenever. I like to be accessible.
Give it some
Blow
love.
up my phone,
That's the etiquette. Give it some love. Yeah, that's awesome. Thanks so much, Chase. And I would say that, for everybody who's listened to this podcast, the thing that we want you to take and run with is go to Chase's YouTube, Google him, whatever you want to do. And the thing that we want you to do is what he said. Watch a video, watch a whole video, bring something to take notes with, and ask yourself, can I talk about this thing for my hyper-local market? Or if something else comes to mind, maybe Chase mentions like, we bring the woods to the woodlands. I'm thinking about Arizona. The first thing that came to my mind was bringing the arid to Arizona. But like, do you answer these questions that people might have, are there saguaros everywhere? No. Do I want to fall into a cactus? No. Okay. So maybe you want to move them over to this area. And so just let your brain just get creative. Just use Chase as a muse and watch the whole video and see where his QR code pops up. Be like, oh, I want to write that down. I want to make sure I do that. So that's your take it and run, is watch a full video, show it some love, because we appreciate Chase so much for this time that he gave us, and brainstorm what you can do for your hyperlocal market.
Awesome. Thanks so much for joining us. We appreciate it. See you guys next time.
Thanks for having me.